live. What's up? What's happening? Fuck what you heard. It's what you hearing. Trevor, what's
Yeah.
up?
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good. I'm here. Welcome back to the show. We're keeping it real, the wrestling show. Welcome back to the wrestling show every single time. Welcome back to the wrestling show. We're keeping it real goes right. Welcome back to Real Take Wrestle Talk. We've got a fantastic, absolutely supercalifragilisticexpialidocious show planned for you. We're going to be talking about the WWE releases that went down. Hell yeah, I just did that. WWE releases that went down this week. Also going to be talking about Davey Richards coming out of retirement, joining a promotion. We're going to talk about that. Also talk about the latest news about Keith Lee that was reported, and we're going to talk about his absence, what that has meant, Edge returning, and much more from the fantastic but also very frustrating world of professional wrestling. We're also going to be talking about our mid-year awards. So we're about 6 months in, and we're going to go through and just list off some mid-year awards, some mid-year accolades from the Real Take Nation over here. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some really real takes. But before we get to that, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Trevor, let's start off with some very, very sad news.
All right.
Yep, it's going to get really real very quickly. For the fourth time since WrestleMania, WWE have once again done multiple releases of WWE talent, citing budget cuts. This time, they let go of 14 talents across WWE's different brands. And just to list them out, let's list them out each piece by piece. Tyler Breeze, Fandango, the Bollywood Boys, that is Samir and Sunil Singh, Ever Rise, meaning Chase Parker and Matt Martell, a.k.a. 3.0, Kurt Stallion, Aria Davari, Marina Shafir, Arudo Rojas, Tony Nese, August Gray, Tony Sabatelli, and Big Damo himself, Killian Dane. Trevor, those are a lot of releases. And again, WWE, they cited budget cuts as the reason for these releases. And you know what makes it even more ludicrous is that many of these people shot angles just leading up to their releases. Like Ever Rise just recently got their own internet show. August Gray had a match for 205 that night, and he ended up, kind of making fun of it, posting on Twitter saying that, his match is now a loser leaves town match. So big ups to him for keeping it funny. Tyler Breeze and Fandango recently shot an angle with Emporium and the NXT UK champion. So these are something that obviously came out of nowhere, came out of left field as far as the talent go and as far as, Triple H goes, honestly. It was also reported earlier by Fightful Select that Nick Khan was responsible for these cuts and didn't care about what they were doing on TV, who they were married to, or any future plans the company had. Killian Dane, obviously, we know is married to Nikki Cross, and Marina Shafir is married to Roderick Strong, so obviously there was no really thought put in for those relations. This claim was later refuted, however, by WWE, according to Fightful. But one thing we do know is that since Nick Khan has been here, since the Nick Khan era officially began, it has been ruthless for WWE talent. We have now seen nearly 35 wrestlers, Trevor, just cut in the past 3 months. What does this mean? Like, what do you think about these releases? Like, just go off.
So I saw it when I saw it. Of course, you're one of the first people I thought of, and I'm like, what in the entire fuck is going? Like, how can you successfully run a promotion if you keep getting rid of talent? Like, you keep getting rid. It's not like useless talent. Killian Dane is not a useless talent. Like, I mean, like, neither is Tony Nese. Tony Nese was once 205 Live champion. Like, I mean, that doesn't mean much, but still, you know what I mean? Like, in the Bollywood Boys, you had them in the program. These are good talent, like Fandango and Tyler Breeze, former champions. Like, it makes no fucking sense. Like, and you also mentioned they were in programs. Like, same thing with Aleister Black. Aleister Black was cutting a promo to compete for a championship against Apollo Crews. Like,
Yeah.
it's just it doesn't make any sense. At this point, it's more like, oh, we're WWE, we're able to do this. We can do what we want and still be on top. Like it just kind of is like a kick in the ass. Like and as a wrestling fan, why would you want to like support them at all? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I will get to like what this means for WWE because honestly, I think it truly means that they don't really care about wrestling, and I think that's not a
No,
surprise to any of us, right? But the one thing that I am shocked by is the ineptitude that it portrays about your company because multiple people in these latest round of releases are recently like part of future plans were part of angles being shot on TV. It shows that you have no care about what the fans are seeing. What we're seeing on TV doesn't matter. That's what you're portraying. That's what you're projecting to your audience, your core audience that's going to buy your product. That nothing you do matters. And
exactly. Like
look, again, I've talked about it ad nauseum, dude. I went off on the live stream I did the other day and I mentioned it. I said what WWE is doing, cutting these people and lying about it. Lying. Like let's call it a spade here, Trevor. They are
yeah,
lying about the
they lied to
reasoning.
us.
Yeah, they lied. They're lying about the reasoning they're cutting these people. They're saying budget cuts. There's no way you can reconcile budget cuts in the same year when you guys are having the most profitable year in the history of your entire company, in the 30 plus year history of WWE, WWF, hell, go back to the WWF even more longer than that. Never have they turned a profit like they have in the past 12 months. And this company has the gall to say that, oh, well, we are cutting people because it's budget cuts and we got to, save money. It's a pandemic. Ha ha ha. We like to fight on Friday
Yeah,
nights,
it's
Michael. It's bullshit. It is absolute bullshit. It proves that they don't care about their talent. They
no,
100% don't care because all they are cogs in the machine. And look, I understand that to an extent, but to say that you're doing it for the betterment of the company when you're clearly doing it to increase profits and line your own pockets. By the way, WWE should have that on a shirt. Increase profits, line your own pockets, because that's all they're about. That's all they've been about lately. And look, I'm not talking about like, look, a lot of these names weren't being used, if we're being honest. Tyler Breeze and Fandango, until recently, they were being used. But, like, people like Kurt Stallion, Marina Shafir, they never did anything with. Like, August Gray, they just started doing stuff with Tony Sabatelli. He's been in and out of WWE. And
yeah,
it's not about that. It's about what you project and the fact that they're lying, the dishonesty, the utter ignorance to think you're wrestling fans and you're wrestlers. They're telling this to wrestlers. They have the balls to tell someone like Tyler Breeze, who's been with the company for a decade. They have the balls to tell someone like Johnny Curtis, Fandango, who's been with the company since 2006. Budget cuts, man. Sorry, you're done. You think he's like, how are they supposed to react to that when they
right.
know that's bullshit? I'm sorry, and I'm sorry. I'm raising my voice. Sorry if you can hear me very clearly in the mic, but it's frustrating. It is truly frustrating,
It is.
and it shows why wrestling needs unions. They truly need unions, man. It's gone like it's too much because you can't have WWE doing this stuff to independent contractors and then on the flip side saying, well, you can't use your name to make money. You can't have a Twitch account without paying us. You can't do anything without approving it by us, but we can cut you anytime we feel like it. It's bull.
Right. It's not fair. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like they're making money off of your name and continuing to make money off of your name and like the fame that you did get while you were in WWE, but you can't use that name. You can't use that music. You can't use certain catchphrases. They own that. If you use it, they get money. Like, but you are out here on the street, just like Aleister Black. Go back to Aleister Black. Like he wrote on his Instagram and his Twitter on how much this meant. You know what I mean? Like, and what is he doing now? Thank God he's doing podcasts and he has a clothing line coming out, Black Mask clothing line that he's in partner with a couple people. But other than that, what else is he doing?
Oh yeah,
Like
and
this
on top of
was
that,
an
sorry,
ordeal.
just to interrupt you very quickly. On top of that,
Absolutely.
they had these things in the contract that say, "Oh, you also can't work for 90 days after we
90
cut
days.
you." That's 3 months. 3 months
Yeah.
of no work. Like, are you kidding me? I'm sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. No, and that was the point that I was going to get to. It just is one of those things that it makes no fucking sense. Like, yes, is WWE one of the most profitable, most popular company out there? Yes, it is. Does it mean something to work for WWE? It used to. Right now, at this point, it doesn't mean as much as it used to. Like before, you were top notch, top dog, top head shit, if you want to breathe. So so crude that you were
Head of the toilet bowl.
exactly.
Acknowledge him.
you were the man if you were on WWE, WWF. Even then, like in WCW, of course, like promotions like that, you were on top of the mountain. Nowadays, it's like people don't want to go there because that's kind of where careers go to die. Like Kenny Omega said they approached him a couple of times. He refused.
Yeah.
Completely refused. And I don't blame him. Like Kenny Omega would not be the talent he is if he went to WWE. He wouldn't be. And that's completely true. And honestly, there are some talents that are on WWE that should leave because they won't be as good as they actually are.
To this day, man, I am so glad that Johnny Gargano never got called up to the main roster. And I don't know. I hope he's like making good money at NXT. Like, I'm not saying like he doesn't deserve to be on the main roster, but man, he doesn't deserve what they're going to do to him when he gets to the main roster, because like that was one I was very concerned about. I'm glad he's been on NXT, but what does that mean? That we're fans and we're praying people don't get called up to Raw and SmackDown. We're praying, like we're like begging they don't get called up because we know they're going to be mismanaged and they're not going to be used to not even like half of what their full potential is.
Look what happened to Keith Lee. Look at what happened to Keith Lee.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about Keith Lee later on in the program, but you're right. Look at what happened to Keith Lee, Ricochet, the list goes on, and Rusev. The list goes on and on and on. You can talk about anyone. There's fleeting moments. Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura is like the epitome of what happens when you get called up to the main roster. You get an initial run that's great. Shinsuke Nakamura won the Royal Rumble, was supposed to main event WrestleMania, had a championship match at WrestleMania, didn't do shit after that. He's been a joke. He's been a joke, a bullshit Michael Jackson ripoff since then. Like
Asuka's another one.
Won the same year, won the Royal Rumble, wasted her winning streak, the longest winning streak in WWE at that point, wasted. For no reason, and it's all for Charlotte Flair to win, and then John Cena to come in and steal Charlotte Flair's heat. Like, that's what frustrates me about that moment. Like, I don't want to deviate too much from the wrestlers who were released because I want to get to some of them, but that's also a thing that frustrates me. They have these moments like that. Like, when Asuka lost at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans, when she lost to Charlotte, it wasn't a moment where Charlotte Flair, they didn't put it over. Like, oh my God, Charlotte Flair just beat the unbeatable Asuka. Like, it was not that. Charlotte Flair wins, she goes to celebrate, and then you see John Cena jump out of his seat and run to the back because he just got called up about a match that The Undertaker is there and, like, they're going to have a match later on. So all the heat, all the attention deviates away from Charlotte Flair winning, away from Asuka's winning streak, and over to John Cena. And you have mismanagement like that, piss poor management like that leads to nobody getting over, that leads to people being wasted and talent wanting out. It
makes no sense.
We
can sit here and talk until we blue in the face because it's going to be the same thing. And I will not be surprised if you get another 14, 13 wrestlers cut due to quote unquote budget cuts later on in the year.
My thing is, man, they can't cut anyone else. They literally can't cut anyone else. Who's gonna be on Raw and SmackDown? Who is gonna be who are they gonna have left if they start cutting more people?
We'll talk about it later, but there is a reason that they might be able to, and we mentioned it earlier. Talking offline, we talked about it earlier.
I'm just saying, man, it's
a little stupid.
It's very stupid. I agree. It's very stupid. But see, the other thing that I want to talk about, it's kind of related to this, Trevor. And it has to do with the releases, but it also has to do with like a strategy of the company. So a few years ago, WWE, when AEW came about and AEW started signing some people, WWE they got scared.
Right.
They got scared that talent was going to go over to AEW, make them more legitimate. And what did they start doing, Trevor? They started hoarding talent. They started giving out big contracts to people like Mike Kanellis and Maria Kanellis, who in WWE weren't doing anything, but they started hoarding them. They started giving out huge extensions. That's how Braun Strowman got his $1 million of contract. That's how all these people started getting paid. And that was the strategy 2 years ago. Get as many talent signed so that AEW or someone else doesn't have a chance, so we can hoard all the best talent in the world. Fast forward 2 years later, they're letting everybody go, and it's weird. Like, I'm having trouble kind of like reconciling this change in strategy. WWE had 2 years ago of hoarding talent, and now and signing them to long-term deals, and now just letting them all go. Like what do we make of that?
Yeah, that's one is selfish, and honestly, I think it's one of those things where no, we don't use them, but but we don't want you to make them better, make them more popular. It's kind of like having a toy, right? Kid has a toy, he plays with it for like maybe a few months, and then he gets another new toy. He's rather play with that toy, but he doesn't want the other kid to play with that old toy, so he keeps that toy like hidden, like he hoards that toy, and that's kind of what they're doing. Like they're keeping that talent to themselves, but they don't want anyone else to have it. They don't want anyone else to make money off that talent. They're not using it, but they don't want anyone else to use it.
It's very impulsive. Like that. That's what I'm getting from it. It's very impulsive. It's like they're just reacting to the first instinct they have. It's back when AEW came out. First instinct, the first impulse was, oh, let's just get everyone signed. And now it's like this idea of maybe selling the company, maybe just getting profits from stocks, who knows,
Right.
is in their minds. So it's like, oh, okay, let's make profits big. And like it shows that they don't have any sort of long-term planning right now. No sort of long-term planning at all. And
I mean,
look,
I wonder how the other superstars are feeling. You gotta feel like on edge because you don't know when you're gonna be called up to be released.
I mean, obviously that's the other thing, Ben. See, and that's the part of not having a union in wrestling that makes being an independent contractor working for a company like WWE so scary, because you don't know when your last day is, because this proves a company can let you go at any second. And that is why I will say it till I'm blue in the face, Trevor, and I said it on the stream. I'll say it again. World Wrestling Entertainment hates their talent. They don't give a shit about them, and it's terrible.
Nah, it's not fair. It's anyone. I asked a question last week, and the question was, is there anyone that watched this show that truly enjoys watching Raw?
Oh, and they're there. They're out there. They're out there.
I'm sure they are, but no one said anything on this stream so far, and no one has said anything on my Twitter. So I'm guessing either they want to make me look like a jackass, or which is perfectly fine, or they just don't want to talk up about it because they realize the product that they watch is a bunch of bullshit and they're embarrassed by it.
Yeah, I mean, see, for me, Trevor, it's just one of those things. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how people can take it seriously. There are some delusional fans out there, and I love wrestling fans. Don't get me wrong. There's some delusional WWE fans who are out there saying that, oh, well, WWE, man, it's like a family. Vince treats these people like a family, and that's what you hear about Vince. Like CM Punk said something very similar. He's like, oh God, well, we're a family, pal, and this is a family. And you hear this from people like Bruce Pritchard on his podcast, like, well, WWE is a family. There's a family. It's a family. It's not. It's a company. It's a money-hungry, greedy corporation is what it is. They don't care. This proves they don't care about you. If it was a family, you know what WWE would do, Trevor? They'd give their wrestlers health insurance. You know, if it was a family, you know what WWE would do, Trevor? They'd give their wrestlers fully guaranteed contracts. If they were a actual caring family, Trevor, they would be employees and not just independent contractors, or they'd at least be allowed to use their likeness, their own likeness, to make a profit away from the company so they can have some sort of financial security. But no.
It's a family. It's a very dysfunctional one, but it's a family.
I would not. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like it's one of those things. Like I totally agree with you. They scream family all day long. You really want to know how much of a family they are? Ask Owen Hart's wife how much of a family they are. You really want to know? Ask her. She'll tell you how much of a family they are.
Yeah, the whole family thing is bullshit, and this kind of proves it. Yeah. Anyway, we'll come back to this eventually, I'm sure, unfortunately, and talk about more releases down the line. In the meantime, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Oh, in the chat, my boy, T. Higgins, the GOAT. He's a Bengals fan. Said, I don't know anything about wrestling, to be honest, but I'm here. We love to hear that. We love to hear that.
Man.
Become a fan. Become a fan. We love that. They're releasing everyone on some BS. That's what they do. That's what corporations do, man. They will tell you until they're blue in the face that they love you and they care about you, and then the second that they want to get rid of you and it's better for their pockets, they will get rid of you. Go watch that John Oliver sketch. Yeah. It's a very good sketch. Go watch that John Oliver, not a sketch actually, it's a report. John Oliver did a report on WWE that was very insightful. And even if you're not a fan of wrestling, you'll look at that and you'll be like, fuck this company, man. Like, yeah. Anyway, let's move on, Trevor, and talk about something that is related to these cuts. Let's talk about 205 Live. So after these cuts, one of the things we realized from these cuts, Trevor, is that 205 Live doesn't have that many people left on its roster. The likes of Tony Nese, Aria Daivari, Fandango, Tyler Breeze, and the Bollywood Boys were all let go from WWE in the latest round of cuts. Many of those people were let go and are part of the 205 Live production, or at least have been over the past few months. It is expected that WWE is going to continue to present 205 Live on a weekly basis, despite all of these cuts and despite all of these releases. But the question that I have is, Trevor, how can they do that when they've released a lot of their roster, when the Cruiserweight Champion almost never wrestles on 205 Live? The Cruiserweight Champion is almost exclusive now to NXT. So, like, what is the future of 205 Live after these cuts? Is it dead? Is it gone?
I think it's been dead for a while. I thought it was. I honestly forgot that 205 still existed. And that's not being funny. That's being honest. Because, let's see, Buddy Murphy was 205. He was sent to the main roster. Tony Nese wrestled on the main roster every once in a while. He hasn't been on 205 in a while. I don't even know who who is the champion right now? The what's his name, right?
The guy it's the guy from NXT. You know who it is.
Yeah. The one that his theme is like Back to the Future type thing. The man of
my God, I cannot believe I forgot his name. He's actually like a world renowned. It's the dude from. Oh my God, it's how did I forget Kushida's name? How did I forget Kushida's name? Oh my God,
it was Kushida. I forgot Kushida's name too. I feel bad about it.
We should not be qualified to be on the show. Yeah, then again,
for a number of reasons. You're right.
Anyway, continue.
Look, no, Kushida. I mean, and don't get me wrong, Kushida is amazing, of course. Love Kushida. But Kushida, if he's the 205 he's a cruiserweight champion, he should be wrestling on 205 Live. He's not, and they haven't even pushed him to go on there. Like 205, I like in its conception, I like the idea of it. I did. I like the fact that it had a lot of good talent from around the world performing on it. I love the cruiserweight tournament. I thought it was awesome. It's great to watch, but as most of the things that WWE touched, it turned to shit.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. WWE has a lot of programming, but and they like to talk about how they have all this programming, but when was the last time you ever saw like an advertisement for 205 Live? Like, it's been a very long time. When was the last time they really pushed that on Raw or SmackDown? It's been a long time. And what I take away from that is, it's a repetition of a pattern we're seeing from WWE. That being that they don't care. They're just putting out shows with very little regard of what's on them. And you can do that when you're a company getting paid like all this money by Peacock, when you're like to just put out programming, because they don't have any incentive to really have good programming on things like Main Event or on 205 Live, because they don't have the network anymore. Before, it was all done through the network, and WWE relied on bringing people towards the network to make money off of it. Now it's all third party. Now they already have their money guaranteed with Peacock. They can just put out whatever they want, and it doesn't really matter. So I think that's why you're seeing a less of an emphasis on 205 Live. And look, I think they want it to continue. They want like this show to continue. They want, we're gonna showcase the cruiserweights. How many cruiserweights do you have left on your roster now? Unless you're going to do a massive restructuring of the entire roster, which, why not do it again for the fourth time in like 3 years? But unless you're going to do that and you're going to bring people like Ricochet, Johnny Gargano, and make them exclusive to 205 Live or something like that and elevate that brand, it's going to die. It's going to be, and death doesn't even mean that it's going to be off TV or it's going to be canceled. WWE Main Event is still a show, Trevor, that's being shown. That brand is dead. Nobody even cares. I
watched it 2 weeks ago just for shit and giggles.
So you're the fan. You're the fan.
I'm the only one, yeah.
The fan. You get one rating. You just popped. That show is going to survive another 2 years because of you, Trevor. just know that. But in all seriousness, at a certain point, man, you have to think that WWE is a company that doesn't really care about the product that they're putting out. How dangerous is that? That's like, then why should I care if they don't? Like that's what I'm starting to feel about all of this. Why should I care when they don't?
I mean, I've felt that way for a long time, honestly. Like, to be honest, when we first started this show, and when we first talked about wrestling, again, you mentioned it many times before. We casually kind of I used to watch wrestling, and I used to really watch wrestling, but at that time, I couldn't tell you the last time I watched the Monday Night Raw. And then I said, you know what, let me start checking it out or whatever. And I start watching Monday Night Raw. And I'm like, I remember why I don't watch Monday Night Raw anymore.
Yeah.
And then, I watched more SmackDown. And it was a point where I stopped watching wrestling altogether, honestly, because I was just fed up with what was going on. And, there was really nothing else to watch. And then I also watched NWA, which I like NWA. I mean, and I will watch ROH and things like that. But, it's just... WWE is just hard to watch when you have other knowledge besides, this wrestler's finishing hold or where this wrestler's from or things like that. When you have knowledge of the company and you realize the bullshit that is going on behind the scenes with different promoters and different CEOs and things like that and different talent, you start to realize they don't give a fuck. Why should I?
Yeah,
and it just happened, and it's just one of those things. You're like, I don't care anymore. I'm not gonna watch this, and it's a shame because some of the best times when I was younger, growing up, were watching old school WWE, WWF, and it's just a shame. It's just not what I used to watch anymore at all.
Yeah, I agree. And the last thing I want to talk about 205 Live, then we'll move on, is kind of its legacy. Because look, 205 Live, when it first came on, it was a breath of fresh air. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was a cool idea. Have all the cruiserweights wrestle on one show, showcase them, and it originally, the Cruiserweight Classic obviously was amazing, and I thought they should have turned that into something like they do yearly, where they bring in the world's best cruiserweights who aren't even involved in WWE. People like Zack Sabre Jr. were in it originally. Right. Have that and have there be a tournament to determine a challenger, and have there be maybe a 205 Live pay-per-view or something, something along those lines. You could have done something very special with it. Instead, they kind of went around and just made it a B. They made it a B cruiserweight show. So you didn't even get the main event cruiserweight people on the show at one point. You got the class B, the tier 2 cruiserweights on the show, and they became a joke. And that's when wrestling, like that's when it gets bad, man. When you treat the show like a joke, and it was supposed to be something pure that people liked, a brand that had like 205 Live was a brand that had the hardcore wrestling fans behind it. That's the sad part. That's the saddest part, and I think that's what's gonna be the saddest part about its legacy. It had every reason to succeed, but despite that, Trevor, it failed. It still failed.
It did, and it's a damn shame. Like I said, like you said, it's pretty much the same thing I said. Like I loved the cruiserweight tournament. It was wrestlers that I hadn't seen in a long. Tajiri was in that tournament actually.
Fucking Tadgers. I love Tajiri.
Dude, it was amazing to see him keep going like it, and he hadn't lost a step either. I don't know if you saw that tournament. I'm sure you did, but that he did not lose a step. He looked good in great
Japanese
shape.
buzzsaw, man. He still got it.
Damn, man, it was great to see him. Shit, him what's the other kid that was there? They used to be in WWE before. It was a couple of people there. Like I just saw, I was like, wow, this is great to see them because I haven't seen them in years. And then when they made an actual show about it, you're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And it was for a minute.
It truly was. Like there was a moment, like 205 Live it came to prominence in this era of WWE where in like 2016, 2017, 2018, like that era where WWE, they were really trying, like they bought up a lot of indies. They were having a lot of indies on the network, and they were grabbing a lot of good talent. There was truly a time where you thought that WWE was going to consolidate wrestling, and everything was eventually going to be under a WWE umbrella. That was actually where we were headed to. And and you were and here's the thing, I wasn't mad about it necessarily because I saw things like 205 Live, I saw other things that WWE were doing. I saw I saw the what WWE was doing as far as NXT and everything. I was excited, and then 2 short years later, it's just pure disappointment. It's sad. It's sad what has happened to 205 Live.
It is. It definitely is.
We have my friend Liam27 in the chat. Just I love this guy, Trevor. He's the biggest Grado fan in the entire world.
Oh, that's Liam. Okay, yeah, I love Liam.
Yeah, that's Liam. Liam, what's up, man? He says in the chat, forget Jungle Boy title change. Charge. In AEW, we need Grado. We do need Grado.
We need Grado. We need Grado on American soil. We definitely do.
I'm holding out hope that someone in WWE sees that fantasy booking video I did about Grado and Walter, and just do it. Like that's how you get NXT UK over, man.
But that has to you understand them doing that means they have to give a fuck.
And they also have to license Grado's song, and they're never gonna do that. They're like the WWE hates to pay. AEW would pay for the music day one. I promise you that. Tony Khan would be like, "This is to have one of the coolest entrances in WWE in wrestling." Yeah, I would totally pay whatever.
Could you imagine Grado in AEW? Oh my god,
dude, he'd get over so quickly. And imagine what you could do if they like eventually do an England tour and a Scotland tour. It would be great. Grado Mania 2021. Let's make it happen, man. Let's make it happen.
Liam, we need you to help us.
When half of AEW's roster are former WWE wrestlers. I need to address this one thing, and then we'll get back to the show. T. Higgins.
I hope you address this because I've been wondering.
A lot of people have been saying this. Here's the thing: WWE for a very long time had some of the best wrestlers and most underutilized wrestlers on the planet.
Exactly.
So for them to leave and then go to a different company. That is not that AEW is grabbing up all of WWE's talent. No, they're just grabbing up a lot of the talent that is out there, the free agents, the best free agents. Some of them just happen to come from WWE.
And you also realize that a lot of that talent was indie too. Like
exactly. Here's the thing: when talents go from wherever, from New Japan to WWE, We don't say that, oh, look at them. They're just stealing. WWE's just stealing all the talent from New Japan and Ring of Honor. I could just as easily say that because they got who they get. They got Finn Balor at one point, Hideo Itami. They got Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles. New Japan. They're just stealing. All WWE does is take talent from New Japan. All WWE does is take talent from Ring of Honor. You could very easily say that. Bryan Danielson, CM Punk,
Tyler Black.
Yeah, but. Yeah, but so it's all subjective. If you have a narrative and it fits that, that's fine. It's
mostly the WWE stands that say that shit though.
T. Higgins, hold up, T. Higgins. I was not saying about you. I was not saying that about you specifically. It's something I was
about to clear that up. We weren't talking about.
It was like that idea. That idea just kind of triggered me. I'm not gonna lie, but
we weren't talking about.
No. Hey, don't apologize. T. Higgins he's grown. He knows that. But hey, T, you got me triggered. That wasn't towards you though. It's just too many idiots. Too many idiots on Twitter though who say that seriously, and it gets on your nerves.
I'm glad you said that though, because I actually just saw that like a day ago, and I was like, "Yo, are you really serious?" Like you said, they have some of the best talent in the world. Like, and most of the talent comes from New Japan. But when you look at AEW, some of the top talent there is indie talent, or they came from RH, or it came from New Japan. Their champion is Kenny Omega. He did not come from WWE.
There we go.
I mean, like, come on. Like
MJF. Actually, AEW steals a lot of their talent from the indies. Nobody's an AEW original ever. Ever. Anyway, man, we are 40 minutes into the show and only 2 segments, Steve. We got to get going.
We are sorry, guys.
Anyway, let's get to our next topic. The Rated R superstar Edge made his return to WWE last week on Friday Night SmackDown by confronting and attacking Roman Reigns. He bashed Roman Reigns' head into the announcer's table before finishing the attack by attacking Jey Uso while Roman Reigns looked on in disgust. Edge was scheduled to return on July 16th edition of SmackDown, which would have been the first show back with fans, but they decided to do it live in front of the Thunderdome. Brother. Also, it was later announced that Edge will face Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank for the WWE Universal Championship. Trevor, what do you think about the way Edge returned this week on SmackDown?
Again, it's why I watch SmackDown. It's the sole reason why I watch SmackDown. It was awesome. I enjoyed it. I thought it made a lot of sense. You would think for something like that, like you said, they would wait until they were in front of a live audience to do or whatever. But I think at this point, they don't have anyone for Roman Reigns to fight. So it would make more sense to bring back Edge so they can finally have the one-on-one match that that so many people wanted to see at WrestleMania.
Mm. Yeah, and it's weird because we haven't seen Edge since April in WrestleMania. You know, he's been out, he's been taking time off. They wanted to save him.
He was hurt, wasn't he?
Well, he was hurt, and they also wanted to save him for when the crowds come back. So that was like why he's been absent for the past few months. But Edge coming back, I think, in this manner, it does set up something for Money in the Bank. My only thing is they probably could have waited 2 weeks to do this. I would have. Yeah. You could have announced the match and then have Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman cut promos in front of the Thunderdome for 2 weeks to build it up, and then Edge returning on the Go Home show, and then you have and then you have a big pop. You have Edge coming out and in front of a crowd, feeding off the energy. It would have been a great first thing to do. I would have saved it for the show with fans, but they did it. What do you think about Edge continuing his feud with Roman Reigns specifically, though, for the championship? Because I think it's a bit of a waste, in my opinion, and I'll get to why I think that. Because I think you probably could wait till after SummerSlam to do it, maybe do a slow burn, but they're just going for it right now.
Because I don't believe he's going to drop the belt on Money in the Bank. You know what I mean? Like I think if he drops the belt, it's going to be SummerSlam. And I feel like it's one of those things that could have been built up. Like you said, a slow burning, but situation. But it's one of those things like it's money. It's a money matchup because they have such great chemistry in the ring. Like their promos have been money since their WrestleMania match. Like they've been good. It's just one of those things like, why waste it? This would have been a great end of the summer match. I mean, you could have dropped the belt the Edge. You may have just kept the belt on Roman, regardless of whatever. But we all know that on Money in the Bank, he won't drop the belt to Edge. Like, I mean, you got too much set up in the pipe works for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, see, and the thing is, what I liked I like how they've kind of used Edge in his return. You know, he's a bit of a tweener, and I like that. I like the fact that he's still kind of got this edge, for lack of a better term, to him. You know, in his character, because I think that's what people like. You know, look at someone like Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, he's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's just the guy. And it actually works this time because he's actually acting like a smart, an aggressive, threatening heel, and he just seems like a badass. And Edge kind of have a very similar dynamic to him right now, which I think is going to be great for when fans come back. But overall, I think that going right into this match is it's again an impulsive move by WWE, and we're going to see whether or not it ends up being good. But I think they are throwing it away when you could have, Edge return and have to fight his way back for a championship match and maybe make that be the story. But we'll see.
Right. I agree. I mean, I hope it's not a waste of a match. It should be pretty good. But like you said, I felt like you could have waited on this. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have waited on this. And you know what else they could have done? Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell below. I see what I did there, Trevor. Make sure you guys do that. Make sure you guys do that so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Trevor, let's continue the WWE smack talk because, man, there's a lot of news. There's a lot of news from WWE, and a lot of it wasn't good this week. Kenice Mobley, who, as you might remember, last week made comments on a podcast where she said that she was hired without any prior knowledge of wrestling, and that's part of the WWE hiring process, apparently. They are looking for people who don't have wrestling experience. She was fired this week. Along with these cuts, she was a former stand-up comedian. She was also a writer for many, many networks like Vice Network. So she's just a very accomplished writer. I just want to make note of that. Word of Mobley's comments apparently got back quickly to WWE, and she was said to be under the gun for publicly speaking about something the organization didn't want talked about. WWE also reportedly was embarrassed at the situation because it made the company look, quote, blindingly stupid to the outside world, and by Friday she was fired. More about Mobley's firing was revealed courtesy of Fightful Select. Despite the backlash to the stand-up comedian's podcast appearance, that reportedly was not the reason she was fired, Trevor. Instead, several WWE superstars and felt disrespected by her comments, and they felt that this was against the spirit of WWE. So again, I don't know what to make of that whole thing. I think it's very obvious why she was fired. What do you think? Who should be blamed for this whole fiasco? Is it Mobley, or is it more WWE's hiring practices and the way they run things?
Let's get just one thing straight. Mobley is not the reason people look at you blindingly stupid. Just to let you know, just in case you were wondering. Honestly, I think it's their hiring practices. Honestly, not taking anything away from Mobley, because she came out and said she had no knowledge of wrestling at all. They hired her because she's written for shows. She is a stand-up comedian. She writes jokes, things like that, and she's an accomplished writer. So like that, you need someone like that to write for your company. But I think if I'm a betting man, and I normally am, I'm guessing the fact that she said that she had no knowledge of wrestling and the company knew of this was probably the reason that they let her go. Is it fair? No, not at all. It's not her fault that she answered a question honestly. Like if that's the case, if that's the problem you had, then hire someone that actually has some wrestling knowledge. Hire someone who knows your product in your company. It can actually help your company and product flourish. She can write eloquently, but she cannot probably help your company first because she has no knowledge of it. That's your fault, not
Yeah.
hers.
Yeah. I'm going to repeat what I said here last week on the show. It is not a bad thing to hire people who are outside of this realm of wrestling to help write TV, because people who are outside of the realm of wrestling might have experience with storylines, might have more experience telling a story and giving you creative ideas to influx with the product of wrestling that you put out. So I think if you have that along with a good filter, these are two things that can work. Kenice Mobley is obviously, I want to make this very clear. Kenice Mobley is an accomplished writer. She deserves to be, writing wherever. That's not the point. This has very little to do with Kenice Mobley and almost everything to do with the way the WWE goes about doing a lot of things. Most notably writing and hiring people and then positioning the people they hire in places where they honestly are not supposed to be. Because Kenice Mobley shouldn't be reliant on writing the TV herself. If you're using her to write aspects of TV and write, or someone like her in her position, a person with very little to no wrestling experience, if you use a person like that and exclusively have them write the show with no prior knowledge of wrestling, of course that's going to make you look blindingly stupid. But honestly, they don't really need much help, because if you watch Raw, you can see that the company's pretty blindingly freaking stupid, Trevor. Like it's all on WWE. And here's the thing. WWE thinks this is what makes them look blindingly stupid?
The fact that you just released another batch of superstars for no fucking reason makes you look dumb, fucking stupid.
Like, are you exactly? You release all these superstars. You have weeks of television ratings that are in the toilet. Raw is at its lowest it's ever been. They lost 100,000 viewers, by the way, this week, Trevor. You have storylines that don't make sense. You have the head not knowing what the neck and the legs are doing. Like there's no consistency at all in the product right now in WWE. And they're worried about Kenice Mobley saying that WWE writers don't have experience with wrestling. They're worried about that making them blindingly stupid, Trevor. This is the same company that has a multi-million-dollar deal with Saudi Arabia. And they're afraid that this writer is making them look blindingly stupid. This is the same company that's pushing Jackson Riker as a good guy, and they think Kenice Mobley's making them look blindingly stupid. Look in the freaking mirror. Whoever said that, whoever felt that, needs to look in the mirror, because the problem with WWE isn't Kenice Mobley. It's not people like Kenice Mobley. It's not the writers. It's whoever's hiring them and whoever's listening to them and giving them the final word. And you know who, at the end of the day, Trevor, has the final word over all of this entire process? It's VKM, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. It's all on him, man. At the end of the day, it's all on him.
And at this point, I don't really think he gives a flying fuck. Like, honestly, when we talked about like whether the company he was selling the company, I was the one that disagreed with that. Now I'm starting to lean toward your ideology that they probably are about to sell the company, because it's too much of non-giving a shit that you see. Like firing all these superstars, and I don't give a damn what you call it, release, cut. At the end of the day, they lost their fucking job, right? Yeah. So they were fired, and then you have writers apparently losing their jobs for the company's stupidity. You have other people losing their jobs for other stupidity. You have wrestlers that shouldn't be wrestling, like Riker. He should not be on TV. He should not be billed as a good guy. Fuck Riker. Pardon my language. No, fuck. Pardon my language. Fuck Riker.
Pardon my language. I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt. Fuck. Pardon my language.
But like, I mean, it's so much that you really like that you're talking about. Like, makes you look blindly stupid. I just named five things, and this young lady is not one of them. She is an accomplished writer, accomplished comedian. She's very talented, obviously. Because you wouldn't hire her. Well, that doesn't mean anything. But no, she's obviously very, very talented. But like, and you're saying that she's the reason. No, she's not the reason. Again, like Omar said, look in the mirror. The reason is right there. The reason is in the product at Raw. The reason is in 205 Live. The reason is in the multiple pay-per-views that you have just to get some money that a lot of the build performances fucking suck. Like, that's the reason you guys look dumb. At the end of the day, don't blame anybody else. Take accountability for your own fuck ups.
Yeah, fully agree. And so the other thing kind of related to this that I wanted to talk about is we've known for a long time that WWE is ashamed of being a wrestling company, which makes zero sense when you really think about it, right? That's the reason why they call themselves sports entertainment. It's the reason why they bring on these comedians and SNL and Hollywood writers. It's the reason why they focus more on the, promos or and storyline than actual wrestling. It's the reason why they bring up and try to push people who aren't good wrestlers. It's the reason why they do a lot of things that they do. They want to position themselves as not a wrestling company, but as an entertainment conglomerate. And look, WWE has accomplished that. They are an entertainment conglomerate, but they're forgetting the reason why. The reason why people tune in to Raw and SmackDown, it's not to see the storyline. It's not just to see, oh my God, what's going to happen next week on this athletic soap opera. It's to see a good match. And you know what? That has not been happening as of recently. So I'm trying to think, man. I am trying to think. You like okay. Like there are a lot of companies out there, a lot of conglomerates out there, right? Like Walmart. What brought Walmart to the dance? A store where you go and buy stuff. Now they've expanded out and done a lot of other things, right? Walmart has their own shipping service. Walmart has their own brand of clothing and a lot of other stuff that they do, right? That's away from like just, being a store. But at the end of the day, Trevor, they don't forget what brought them to the dance. They don't forget what is still the most profitable aspect of their business, which is a store which you go and buy things at a cheap price. Exactly. WWE seems to be the opposite. They had good wrestling, great wrestling for a long time, the best wrestling for a very long time. And now that they have, they have WWE Studios, they have these toy lines, these video games, all this other stuff that is still somehow connected to wrestling. All of it, by the way, is still connected to wrestling. They have this, and they want to get away from wrestling. How does that make sense when that's still the most profitable aspect of your business? Whether it's your TV shows, your video game deals, your deals to wrestle in Saudi Arabia, as shitty as we think of that is still a profitable aspect of their business. I don't understand how they are so disconnected from reality that they think that they can be an entertainment conglomerate and not give a shit about wrestling. And here's the thing. The last thing I'll say about this is it's a slap in the face to every single person who pays for the Peacock Network. It's a slap in the face to anyone who ever bought a t-shirt. It's a slap in the face to anyone who buys a ticket to one of their shows. It's a slap in the face to anyone who watches their product and pays that company money because they don't care about you. They care about the person who apparently doesn't exist because the audience that they're trying to get to is someone who doesn't really care about wrestling and someone who only cares about entertainment and but also cares about what WWE does. That person doesn't exist. That's who they're trying to get to. It makes no sense. Their entire business model right now makes no sense.
Nope. Not one bit.
Yeah.
Not one damn bit. It's a damn change. It really is.
I tried so hard this week to find positive stuff. I have a connection problem.
Do we?
I think we're back. Yep, we're back. Okay, anyway. But yeah, I found it very hard to find anything positive to say about this company, and we're going to continue with the negativity train because WWE are apparently locked in a trademark battle with one of their own talent. So Keith Lee is reportedly facing issues trademarking his own ring name because of prior applicants to do the same thing by WWE. So they're trying. So At the same time, Keith Lee's trying to trademark his name, Keith Lee, which he has been using for a while now, Trevor. WWE is also trying to file a trademark for his name. It was reported back in December that Lee applied for a trademark for his name. However, the former NXT champion is now facing issues getting that trademark accepted. Lee is currently in a battle, like I said, with WWE over this. WWE have run into several issues themselves trying to trademark Keith Lee's name, and they now have until September to provide a signed consent form from Lee himself in order to move forward with their application. On the flip side, Keith Lee, in order to be granted his trademark, WWE has to drop their entire application. So they're at a bit of a stalemate here. Keith Lee also has not been seen on WWE television since February because of certain health issues he's going through. And it's also, you could say, possibly also because of some of the legal issues. So, Trevor, what's going on here? Why is Keith Lee still having to battle for his own name? Why does WWE continue to do this out-of-date practice of trying to literally own their superstars?
Man, it doesn't make any sense. They're like, that's his name. You know what I mean? Like, he's had this name.
Thank you. That's his name.
He's had his name since he started with the company, since before he started with this company. Like, and you're really going to sit there and try to fight the man for his name? Like, that is the dumbest shit I've ever, like, it doesn't make sense. This is why WWE is failing as a company, because they're fucking stupid. Like, that is dumb. Like, what do you, like, you already own the man on a contract. Like, you don't even want the man to eat. Like, you don't want him to live. Like, what happens after WWE? What if he's one of the very many people that you give high hopes to and then cut him off at the knees by releasing him? Like, what is he going to go as now? Big, flat, big, muscular black guy? Like, come on. Like, his name is Keith Lee. Like, let him have his own name. And the funny thing is, Omar, what really makes me laugh, right? So, and you probably already know this. So, when he left NXT, right, the music that he had, his interests, all that stuff, they changed it from NXT to WWE because apparently he wanted him to repackage him, give him a new image. All they did was take a belt off a man who didn't deserve to drop it to a person who didn't deserve to have it and put him on the main roster so he could be forgotten about again.
It's astonishing how just tone deaf everything that company does is. It's very similar to this to me is very similar to that whole fiasco they had with Cody Rhodes. You remember for the longest while, Cody Rhodes couldn't use the Rhodes last name because it was apparently trademarked and owned by WWE because they owned the name Cody Rhodes from when he was there. Because for those who don't know, Cody Rhodes isn't Cody's real name. It's actually like Cody Runnels, but his dad wrestled as Dusty Rhodes for literally almost like 40 years. He's used that name his entire time. I don't think a lot of people are entitled to a lot of things, but if anyone is entitled to the Rhodes name, it is Cody. And WWE still, for the longest time, put up a battle and refused to let him use his own name in wrestling events. That's why for the longest time he was known as exclusively Cody. And I think he actually made that work, but that's a thing for another day. It doesn't excuse how terrible and disgusting of a practice this type of stuff is. Keith Lee has literally been using this name for nearly his entire career, I believe.
I was going to say, he used it when he was in Evolve, right?
He used it while he was in Evolve, and it doesn't make sense. I think this is another thing of WWE trying to own their wrestlers, and there's terrible connotations there, but they're there for a reason. And yes, they are terrible because it's a terrible mentality to have. It comes down to independent contractors. These people are independent contractors. If they can't even use their own name that they've been using on the indie scene to make money, what do you want? They literally want to own you and then discard you when they don't have any need from you, and you can't. WWE is the only place, Trevor, where you can't use that on your resume when you go to your next job. Like, you know what I'm saying? WWE is the only place where you can't use anything that you use in that prior job to advance your career. It's the only place that functions like that. One of the only places that really
I didn't know
functions like
that.
that.
I heard rumors about that, but I didn't realize that.
Like no, it's really, when you think about it, dude. They like if WWE trademarks your name, you can't go and use it in AEW. You
Well, yeah,
can't go and
true,
use it
true.
in New Japan. You can't go and use it anywhere else.
Right.
It's one of the only places that functions like that. When Liam Hemsworth goes to do another movie, he can be like, yeah, I was Thor in Marvel. Nope, can't do that if you WWE. You can't use that. You can't use that name. Nope, no, 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 no. Lawsuit, cease and desist, baby, cease and desist. It's it's the most weird and tone deaf thing you can do. And again, it just makes you feel like a shitty place to work. And I've said it once before on the show. I will continue to say it. WWE hates their talent. And just to kind of put a bow on this specific thing with Keith Lee, again, it's not really reported that this is the specific reason why he's been absent. You know, I think the bigger reason is his injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as far as Keith Lee and his injury goes, I want to talk about that for a second. What do you think? Like, let's say Keith Lee comes back in a few months. Where does he go from here on the main roster? Because he had a little bit of momentum, but it was all kind of stifled in his injury, and then you had this lawsuit and this trademark issue. Where does Keith Lee eventually, when this is all settled and he's back on the main roster, where does he go?
You know what? I honestly don't know. And to be honest with you, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he's on the next cut list after this lawsuit is fixed. You know, I honestly don't know, because like you put him on the main roster. You took him from NXT where he was on fire. He was the hottest thing in NXT. And don't get me wrong, I do think when he had the not the world champion, but the other championship, I think he was getting stifled a little bit, because like there were only a few people that you put him up against. You know, Jajakovic, they put him up like 3-4 times. He wrestled him a few times. Like he had a couple of matches where he was just like wrestling the same people over and over again, I believe. He had a good match with Gargano. He the title match he had with why can't I think his name? Not Roderick.
Kyle O'Reilly?
Yeah. No. There's O'Reilly? Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly. Yeah, he had a great match with him. But he was getting a little stale, and it wasn't his fault. It was just they didn't put him in any programs with anybody else. Like they love the Jajakovic match, the feud he used to have, so they kept building that back up every once in a while, and people got tired of it. You know, people got really tired of it, and that's what happens when you have a good superstar and you have no plans for him. Like, you make them stale, and I honestly believe that's what they did, and that's part of the reason they made him drop the belt to Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
But which I didn't agree with at all. But you know.
Yeah, I mean, again, where does Keith Lee go from here? I think it's gonna be, because it's weird. He seemed like he was gonna be a big star on the main roster. They gave him a pretty big push, but now he's coming back, and we know in WWE, when you're gone from WWE for a while, memory is very short. There, they don't
unless you're John Cena.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cena wins, lol, but. But no, I mean, for Keith Lee, the worry I have is he's going to get back to the main roster, and they're just going to job him out and use him as like a regular mid-carder, and that'd be really sad to see, but there's really no other direction for him, I think, given WWE's previous track record.
I mean, there's nothing else they're gonna do with him. I mean, he had a good few matches with Randy Orton. He had some good matches with Drew McIntyre. Like he had a great match with Drew McIntyre. Honestly, that was an amazing match. But that probably was his best match on the main roster. But other than that, they're not gonna do anything else with him. They really aren't. Like, I mean, they at this point they can't. And I don't think they will really try to.
It's so easy though. Like,
Oh yeah, it's super
if
easy to put him back
so
in
wrestling,
the
dude,
same card.
wrestling is so simple to book, and they just find a way to overcomplicate it,
Could
make
you
it.
imagine him in a program with Bobby Lashley?
Yeah, him with a program. You put him in the program with Bobby Lashley. Him and Brock Lesnar. Just have them.
Yeah,
Don't even have him wrestle for a title. Have that be
just have
like
him wrestle.
have him have a hoss battle at SummerSlam.
Exactly.
You want to pack that stadium if he's healthy enough. You want to pack that stadium. Have that one be one of the headline matches. Have that be the opener. How awesome would that be?
Could you imagine if they didn't screw up the Hurt Business? Could you imagine him in the Hurt Business? Like that'd have been like him.
And then you could do a very similar storyline between Batista when he left Evolution and won the title against Triple H. Do the same thing. Build it up for a year, but they won't do that. That's too much. That's too much time.
That's too much like right.
Anyway, let's get to some of the chat questions real quick because we got some that we missed. Hot take: Roman Reigns is annoying. Not as annoying as that take. Love you, T. Higgins. Liam27 says Mobley and Grado shouldn't be wrote in WWE. She had to go. I mean, yeah, she shouldn't have been there, and that is WWE's fault.
Yeah, absolutely.
WWE acts like they don't already like we don't already know they're blindingly stupid. Ain't that the truth?
Was that T. Higgins?
No, that was T. Higgins. He also said, "World soap opera entertainment, damn straight."
Damn right.
They really desperate for a name. WWE, the type of company to trademark a name, then never use it again. Hell yeah, who else does that, man?
Exactly. Never use it again. Never.
Who else? And it's not even like it's like they're not even like. It's like Marvel, man. If they tried to hoard all, I don't know. I'm not gonna. Yes, T. Higgins, I agree with you. It's bullshit. Anyway, guys, if you haven't already, remember to. T. Higgins is on him. He said he didn't know shit about wrestling, man. This guy lied. You cap.
He lied to us.
Cap. It's just like you and me when Trevor, you and me had our first conversation about wrestling, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to watch it when I was a kid, and then we go, oh my god, NXT takeover. Then we got really into it. Then it became uncomfortable for Ryan. He was just like, what are these two nerds? Okay, Joe especially. My roommate Joe, when he heard us talking about wrestling, literally like. Joe's one of those guys who whenever anyone brings up anime or wrestling or something geek, he's like, these fucking nerds. Like, what are you doing? Like, he's shocked. He's shocked that people.
He's huge. It's so
it's funny. T. Higgins just said, I know a little bit. Like shit, you know a lot. You know a lot more than you let on, my guy. The fact that you know, like all of this stuff, yeah, you got me. You got me questioning the credibility of that first statement. But hey, man, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're enjoying it. And if you are enjoying it, guys, hit that thumbs up button. T. Higgins, you probably already did, but this is for everyone else who's watching. Thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Got daily videos about sports, wrestling, and whatever else I feel like talking about sometimes. So, speaking of things I want to talk about, Trevor, let's talk about VKM. A number of WWE officials have made trips to Orlando to take a look at talent at the NXT Performance Center, with the likes of John Laurinaitis, Bruce Pritchard, Jamie Noble watching on as performers take part in exclusive Performance Center live events that are not open to the public. So these are essentially like trials for when they go back on the road. The reason behind these frequent trips has been because WWE are looking to replenish the main roster that has been hit by numerous cuts and demotions over the past few years. WWE are also looking to... notice something there. WWE are also reportedly looking to perhaps advance people who are at the Performance Center into NXT. Along with that, we have heard rumors that WWE Chairman Vince McMahon will reportedly be visiting the Performance Center on Thursday to cast his eye on the talent in Orlando. The main roster will be replenished by talent from NXT, and then NXT talent will be replenished from the talent at the PC that has not been called up yet. I already said that. The likes of Karrion Kross, Bronson Reed, Scarlett, Shotzi Blackheart have all been tapped for call-ups recently, having dark matches on both main event, Raw, and SmackDown. So, Trevor, what do we think about the fact that some of the wrestlers who've already been tapped to replenish the roster are currently champions in NXT. You got people like Bronson Reed, the North American champion in NXT, and Karrion Kross, who is the NXT champion. What do we think of them potentially getting called up?
I just hope if they do get called up, it's a lot better. Their career is a lot better than some of their predecessors. You know what I mean? Like, again, I said before, the main roster is where talent goes to die. Like, and people in NXT have great careers right now. Like, I mean, like you said, Bronson Reed, Karrion Kross, like they all have champions. They're all doing well right now. But you're gonna call them up. You're not gonna give them any shots at any belts. Like, you may give them one shot, and that's about it. Like, if you're not going to do anything with them, why call them up? You know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense to ruin a great career in NXT to bring them up to the main roster if you're not going to do anything with them. And I mean, that doesn't mean that they're going to do the same thing that they did in previous people like Finn Balor or Keith Lee or things like that. But if what we saw before is any indication of what they're going to do, they need to stay on NXT.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think it's eventually, right, the plan is to call people up from NXT. And the other thing that I'm worried about here is that not only how they're going to be used is, like, is there like any communication with NXT and WWE, the main roster, as far as plans? Because maybe Triple H had plans for these guys and these girls, like Shotzi Blackheart is currently in an angle. Like, maybe there are plans that are going to be rushed now, and, you know, how is that going to affect the NXT product? That's another question coming out of this, and it shows there's dysfunction, man. This is what happens when there's no communication, when Triple H doesn't even know who's getting cut tomorrow and who's getting called up. Like, how is he supposed to plan? And how is that going to affect NXT's booking? And their booking is probably going to suffer because of this. So those are things to take into account. The other question that I kind of had going off of this is, how does this make WWE look? You know, because if we look right now, you know, not only are we getting cuts left and right? If you look at the Raw roster right now, dude, like, the men and women, like, most of their roster is in the Money in the Bank ladder matches.
Yeah.
Most of the Raw roster, and this is a 3-hour weekly episodic television program, and they have, like, maybe, what is it, like, maybe, like, 10, 15 people who are used used on TV. We have multiple segments using the same people on Raw. We've seen, how many times have we seen Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre, or a variation of that, on Raw? How many times have we seen that just in the past few months? Like, you've seen what happens when the company doesn't have people called up, and they don't have people ready, and they don't have talent, and they're cutting more people, and now they're trying to bring people up. There's a lot of dysfunction in that company, man. There's a lot of dysfunction, and I'm not going to say, I will never say that WWE is going to go out of business or anything like that, because they're probably not. WWE, the brand right now, is a moneymaker without even having to try, and they're proving that right now. Trust me, they're proving that. They signed a $1 billion deal with Peacock. But, man, long term, this does not bode well for this company. Like as far as fan base, as far as hardcore wrestling fans, there's always going to be hardcore WWE fans because of nostalgia and trust with the company. But I see a lot of that trust being broken, man, and it's just so much dysfunction. I truly cannot believe that Vince McMahon, the person who at one point in time, man, he ran this tight ship in WWE. He ran a very tight ship in WWE, and it's gone. It's like day and night what Vince McMahon was 20 years ago and what he is now. It's night and day, the way he handles these situations, the way he handles the entire company, and it's honestly for the worst, because I feel like Vince McMahon 20 years ago saw what was happening to this company right now. No matter how much money they're making, if he saw the popularity, the ratings dwindling, the interest in the product dwindling like it is, they would have put it into an entirely different gear. And that hasn't happened for a very long time, and it's sad.
It's sad. Absolutely sad. It's terrible. I mean, at this point, I don't know what's going on, and I don't know what the future holds. But like you said, it doesn't look good, not at all.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I tried to find something happy. I tried to find something positive about this damn company.
It's very
Could not
hard.
do it this week. Could not do it this. It was all negative. It was all
Yeah.
negative. But we'll see what
Everything I
happens.
saw was too. I tried to do the same thing because I saw what you had in the doc, but it was just
Yeah, it was
nothing.
not a great week for WWE or talent. Let's check the chat real quick. T. Higgins says, "Isn't Pat McAfee on the NXT roster?" Never mind, he got fired. I forgot. Fun fact for you, T. Higgins: Pat McAfee is the official commentator for Friday Night SmackDown every week.
Unfortunately,
It's him and Michael Cole. Hey, Pat McAfee is doing a fine job. Like he's okay.
yeah, he's doing okay. Then.
He's
Okay.
fine. He's fine. It's entertaining. I'm a fan. I'm also a fan of the Pat McAfee show.
I mean, I love
Look,
Pat McAfee.
he's at some
show,
look.
but-
Look, what I like. Someone is excited about what's happening in front of them.
Well,
There's
exactly.
there's excitement. I like that.
But he was kind of annoying in that Hell in a Cell.
Oh my God! The stars are being made. What is going on? I know. He's got that. He's got a weird cadence, but
Don't get me wrong, I do like Pat McAfee though. But yeah, still.
Trevor, you know what I really liked? You know what I really liked, Trevor?
But people like.
There we go. You did it for me now. Look at that, Trevor. Look at that. You're growing up so fast. You're learning the YouTube game. I'm so proud of you, buddy. But I do like that. But another thing, Trevor, that I liked from this past week was Saturday Night Dynamite. This past Saturday night on AEW Dynamite, we saw the main event: Kenny Omega defending his AEW World Championship against Jungle Boy, the winner of the Casino Battle Royale. What a match this was, Trevor. This was the build up to this match was pretty good, and it delivered in every single way. You know, they got rid of everyone at ringside. I thought that was a great spot in the beginning. It was just these two. It was one-on-one, mano-a-mano. And look, Kenny Omega, he made Jungle Boy look very strong. Jungle Boy kicked out of like a billion V-triggers, but at the end of the day, nobody, and absolutely nobody, kicks out of the one-wing angel. Kenny Omega retained, but in a great match. And I think one thing we saw out of this match, Trevor, is that Jungle Boy a lot of people were asking, does he have the potential to be a main eventer? Is he technical enough? Is he good enough in the ring? All of those worries are out. Jungle Boy is great, and I can't wait to see what happens. What did you think about this match and this main event?
The whole show was great. I enjoyed the show completely, but this match, it stole the show. It really did, and that's kind of what I thought it was going to do. Like, and Jungle Boy did hold his own for a while. He really did. Like, I think him and Kenny Omega really played off each other very, very well. Kenny Omega showed why he's the greatest wrestler in 10,000 years. Why he is Kenny by God Omega. He showed why he is. But Jungle Boy Jack Perry also showed why he might be one of the better younger wrestlers in 2021. He delivered. It was a great show, great story leading up. The match itself told an amazing story, the moves, the everything. It was a great match. One of my favorites this month, and maybe so far this year.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, man. That whole show was great. Like the opener with Adam Page and Will Hobbs was great, and they told storylines with Team Taz and you know, Ethan Page, who we'll talk about later, cut a great promo. It was a great show. But the main event was obviously the creme de la creme. And what I loved about it, man, this felt like it was a pay-per-view match that you got on free television. And I liked it because it built them up. It built up Jungle Boy. And you know what? They didn't do the turn, but that's fine with me. Because I liked it. Because I liked the look. It was a great match. And I think that's what AEW is about right now. They're about putting out great matches and making it look like these people are trying their best to win every single time, which is what you want to see out of any athletic display. So it makes sense. And as far as, like, you know, if we're going to give this a star rating, I do star ratings out of 10 because I believe that's more accurate. Like a 5-star rating kind of limits you. But this was like 9, like 9. This was like, and it's not
It
even
was
like
definitely not to me.
it was like not even that like, oh, they could have, they should have done this and it would have been perfect. It was a great match. Who cares? It's a
Yeah.
fantastic match. And look, let's talk about Jungle Boy Jack Perry for a second because we talk about Omega a lot. Man, look, this was one of those moments of Jungle Boy's career that people are going to look back and they're going to say this was the moment where Jungle Boy proved that he's here to stay and that he's going to be a main eventer one day if he's not already. Because the performance he gave, man, I didn't even think. Like, I love Jungle Boy. I knew he was great. But like he pulled out some spots. He was great technically, flawless in the match. Even I didn't think this match was going to be this good. It exceeded my best expectations, and I was already optimistic, so it was great.
And I mentioned last week that I didn't think he was quite that technical. He's a lot more technical than I thought he was. He's a lot more technical than I thought he was, and I like that. He does have a technical presence with him, and I love it. Like he proved, like you said, he proved this in this match that he will be a champion someday. He will be. If he's not, AEW is going to miss the mark with that.
You know who I think it could be a good opponent for him down the line? Him and Miro. I think Jungle Boy. Yeah, I think Jungle Boy versus Miro. And then, I don't know when that would be. Maybe Full Gear. Maybe like somewhere a few months from now.
It's a mess. It should be at some big event, I believe.
But could you imagine Miro versus Jungle Boy and Jungle Boy being the guy to finally take down this undefeated behemoth of a monster in Miro, this religious zealot Miro who cut like an amazing promo about God and Jesus on Dynamite. It was
God's
great.
Favorite champion is what
I am God's favorite champion. Like it was so great.
I love it. Yo, Miro in AEW is absolutely money. He's absolute money. Like, and again, like I know the guys in the chat, AEW stands. No, it's not that. It's when you have a product that is catering to your fans, it's catering to their talent, it's doing what it does well. It has matches that actually mean something. Like it's hard not to like it. Especially when a major product is fucking up, and AEW is doing a lot of what they do very well. Now, do they have their faults? Absolutely. We've talked many times about their flaws and about their faults, but they are doing a lot very well right now. And right now, a lot of their superstars are over, and they are absolute money. Like Sammy Guevara, money. Orange Cassidy, money. Like. You have
Jungle Boy Jack Perry, money. Kenny Omega, money. The Young Bucks, money. John Moxley, money. Eddie Kingston, money. Just naming off the roster, like everyone is right. Most of these people are money.
They literally have two of the best wrestlers in the world right now. One being Kenny Omega, and the other one, argue with me or not, Jonathan Moxley. Like right now. They are two of the hottest wrestlers in the world right now.
Oh, they're two of the most over wrestlers in the world by far. Yeah.
Absolutely. And they have them on the roster. With those type of talent on the roster, along with the Young Bucks, along with Adam Page and Team Taz, like with guys like that, you have to be money. You have to be over. Because if you have talent like that and you're wasting them, you're just WWE at this point.
I'm so excited for AEW to go back on the road because one of the best things, and I've said it on the show before about AEW, it's not only the fact that they have some of the best wrestling in the world, but they also have the best fans in the world because they're loud. Everyone is over because they deserve it, and they let you know when something's not good. And what does the company do? They adjust. God bless them. Continue what you're doing. But hey. AEW, one thing that I will always be on them about to keep it real, they need to keep building this women's division, man, because it's still lacking. I think we've given it. It's
made some good.
It's slow, man. I understand they're trying to get, but they have superstars as far as when they have stars. They have Thunder Rosa. They have Nyla Rose. They have.
I like the bunny. I like
They
the
have the
bunny.
Bunny, Ty Conti. They have people on that roster that should be in feuds that aren't. Chris Statlander, like
Yeah.
that over like Rover
I,
probably would have
I
been
think they're
champion.
still trying to figure it out, though. I think that's what it is. It's not more so that they don't care about the women's roster. I think it's more so they're still trying to figure it out.
See, here's the thing. I'm not saying that they necessarily don't care, right?
Right.
I don't
I
think
get
it's
that.
willful. I don't think it's willful ignorance, right? That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I do think, do I think they can be better, and they
Well,
probably at
absolutely.
this point should be better. Look, and I know like they're doing some good stuff on Dark or whatever, but I think it's time to put some of this stuff, at least some of it, man. Start to incorporate it with Dynamite. Hopefully, when Rampage is on, they devote more time. But one thing I do want, man, and one thing that should happen, there should be another match that's not for the title, like a women's match. By Full Gear, they have to have another match that's not title that includes women. Like you can't
Yeah.
do it. Like at this
Yeah.
point, it's they've had time. They've had time.
I want
And
to see more of Ty Conti. I want to see more of Chris
And then
Statlander.
look, and people want to say it has nothing to do with wokeness and having equality, like it's not just equality or whatever. I want to see some of these people wrestle on pay-per-views. I want it's what it comes down to. I want to see Ty Conti. I want to see Chris Statlander. I like. It's great to see just the main event, the world titles, but I also want to see other people incorporated on these shows. That's it.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't
and I think once more people and hopefully they hear us, they listen to us. But once you hear more people ask for it, and that's the thing. I don't know how many people are asking for, how many people are begging for it. But once they start hearing more people, they'll talk to them, they'll listen. Hopefully, and hopefully you guys listen to this because we want more. The women's division is amazing. You have a great women's division. You just need to push them more.
To quote Paul Heyman once on 2004, when regarding one person on SmackDown who was making his debut, we need more, 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 Shannon Moore. No, but I'm the only one who gets that reference. That was like one of my most favorite Paul Heyman promos.
I know exactly.
It was dumb as hell. It was dumb as hell. He's like, "We're gonna have somebody who wants more, and we want Shannon Moore." And Shannon Moore comes out. Shannon Moore has never been more. Shannon Moore has never been more over than that day. Trevor, let's talk about this because last week. Sorry. Let me take a drink. Trevor, chill for a second for me. Okay, I was gonna ask you to chill with me, but okay, cool. You took a drink with me. That's fine.
I had the same thing. But
it was like synchronized. It was like we are same, but different, but also same.
But yeah, you want to do this one? You can definitely do this one.
Oh no, okay, yeah, I was gonna do it. All right. So last week on Saturday Night Dynamite, Ethan Page, all ego Ethan Page, issued a challenge to Darby Allin to put their feud to bed, not just in the wrestling ring, but in a coffin. Yes, Ethan Page challenged Darby Allin to a coffin match at AEW Road Rager when they return to crowds outside of Jacksonville on July 7th. That match, Darby Allin still has to accept the challenge, but that's what we're expecting. Trevor, you know this feud. You followed it for years. What does this match, a coffin match between these two, what do we expect from this, and what do we expect from the build to this?
Oh, it was gonna happen. You know what I mean? When you have both of these superstars on the same roster, like in anyone that follows wrestling, I'm sure Tony Khan did. Like he knew what the crowd wanted, what the fans wanted. Fans are all ego. Fans of Darby Allin wanted. They wanted to see this feud go again, and it's one of those feuds that shouldn't go on forever, but this is the third one. And this is an amazing feud. For those of you that haven't followed this feud, again, like I said, this is the last of the three matches. There's been two before, and they've been knockout dragouts. Great matches, very, very down and dirty. I was trying to think today if they've had a coffin match before, but I think it was a body bag match.
That would be appropriate for Darby Allin's gimmick.
I believe it was a body bag match. I'm not totally for certain, but I believe it was. But yeah, they've done a lot in the ring, and they're magic in the ring. They really are, and like they fit each other's styles very well. They work together very well. They kind of like meld together. It's to see them work in the ring is almost breathtaking. It really is, and I can't wait for this, man. And to have this type of match in AEW. Now AEW's had like unsexy matches before. They've had hardcore matches before, things like that. But this isn't quite like that. This is a little darker for AEW. This is a little more, cynical type thing. This is something that you've never seen in AEW before. This is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah. What I'm most interested in, what you mentioned, was this being the rubber match kind of. And, I do like the fact that, they kind of incorporated this as part of, they incorporated this as part of, them coming back in front of live fans. Because one of the most over people is going to be Darby Allin. They want to see him in a big match, I think, when they go back to these live events, right? But for me, I'm excited to see that, but I am excited about the rubber match aspect, like you said, about them finally putting this to bed, and I hope they are able to build that up, at least somewhat, within the next week. Either way, I think the coffin match does intrigue me. The look of the coffin. The idea of being put into it, and it's fitting of Darby Allin. It's fitting of Ethan Page, and the fact that he wanted to challenge for this. It also, I think, adds a little bit of an edge to him, because it's not Darby Allin challenging him to a coffin match. It's Ethan Page challenging Darby Allin to one. So I think that gives him a little bit of an edge too. So I'm excited.
I mean, because like the look of Ego, he looks like this frat boy, this pretty boy, and he is. His persona is completely him, which is amazing, honestly. But he's not. He's a lot darker than you think he is, and his matches speak volumes. Like, if you've never seen the man wrestle, and if you've never seen a Darby Allin Ethan Page match, please go back and check it out. It's worth watching. It's definitely worth watching. These boys can work. If you doubt that they can, like, if you doubt that Darby Allin can work, you haven't seen Darby Allin wrestle in the past year and a half. But if you don't know much about Ethan Page, you might doubt his work ethic. But definitely check the match out. Both of them, one or two. Like, check them both out.
Ethan Page ain't no thick boy anymore, bro. He's been looking.
No.
He's still thick, but he's like muscular.
Oh yeah, muscular thick. Yeah, he had a belly and everything in that last match he had with Darby Allin.
Yeah, like he's looking like Ethan Page is kind of looking like he's getting ready for a main roster run in WWE. Like that's what I'm thinking about Ethan Page, But
I was excited when Ethan came over to AEW. I was so excited.
It was weird though, because his debut was the same night as Christian's, so it was kind of like it lost a little bit of its luster.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did.
You know what else has lost a little bit of its luster, Trevor? This fucking gimmick, man. Sean Waltman, Trevor's favorite wrestler in the entire universe, Sean Waltman, aka X-Pac, was in the news this week. Waltman this week argued that he didn't have, quote, X-Pac heat with fans, though, and he mentioned on... Sorry. I'm going to restart that because I've messed that up. Okay. Sean Waltman, a.k.a. Trevor's favorite wrestler in the world, X-Pac, said this week that he did not have, quote, X-Pac heat with the WWE fans when he was interviewed by Chris Van Vliet this week. He said, quote, "It's just an internet thing. They're just sick of me. A certain segment of the wrestling community had enough. I get it. Well, I don't know if I get it, actually. It's not the same as those boos that I'm actually getting in the arena. The chatter on the internet, on these sites with X-Pac heat, and all that reaction I'm getting on the matches on TV." Basically, he went on to say that X-Pac heat, he didn't have it, that it was just this weird internet thing, this phenomenon. What do you think about that? What do you make of his comments on that? And the fact that he says that X-Pac Heat is just an internet thing, and he never had it.
Well, if he saw our feed, he realized that a lot of people on the internet don't believe he has it either. Dude, like what? You have to understand. You have to know that you have some type of heat.
Okay. Let me rephrase the question. So X-Pac said in an interview this week that he doesn't believe he ever had X-Pac Heat. Trevor, why don't you explain to the people first what X-Pac Heat is, and then why don't you explain and then explain why he has it and why you specifically hate X-Pac.
Oh, so many reasons. Like, okay, let's just be honest. Okay, so let's make this as painless as possible. So, okay, why do people know who X-Pac is? Because of the Click. That's how they know who X-Pac is originally. They know of X-Pac or 123 Kid because of the Click, who wasn't supposed to be part of it, but he came out anyway. And if you don't know what the Click is something that happened years ago when Diesel.
It was a backstage crew with Diesel, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, who politicked their way into getting themselves over. Oh, Just Incredible was in the Click?
Yeah, I know, right?
Future Hall of Famer, Just Incredible. Can't wait to see that.
And so they broke kayfabe and came out and said their farewells because other wrestlers were going to the WCW and other wrestlers were staying, and it was a big thing. 123 Kid was not supposed to be part of that. He made himself part of it. So being involved with these wrestlers, he became more successful than he actually was. Now, did he have a few matches where other wrestlers carried him? Yes, every match. Were there matches where he was wrestling some of the best, like Bret Hart? Most people who say X-Pac was amazing mention this amazing match with Bret Hart where he clearly almost dropped Bret Hart like 3 or 4 times. He botched a couple moves 3 or 4 times, but it was an amazing match, and 123 Kid was part of it. Fuck him. Then
I love this explanation of X-Pac Heat, by the way. Continue.
Then, of course, he was part of DX. Of course, he was part of NWO. And that people get this, he gets this fame because of this, because of that. Now you go a little deeper. He's a womanizer. He's a drug abuser. He's done all
allegedly.
Oh yeah, allegedly. All this other dumb, heinous shit behind the scenes, and people forget about it and want to say he's an amazing human being. Go fuck yourselves. He's a piece of shit, and he deserves to be called out for it. He was a horrible wrestler. He was never that good, and if he doesn't understand why he has the heat, he can go fuck himself too. He literally is. He's not as bad as others, and I won't mention these others people's names because he's not as bad as those. For that, I will give him credit. But has he done questionable things outside the ring? Yes. Has he been responsible for other people doing questionable things outside the ring? Yes. Fuck him. And I honestly do not like the guy. I've never liked him. I don't like him, and he deserves every bit of heat he gets.
That take was so hot. I think it just cut our stream out. that was like at the very end, it just cut out. I think we're coming back.
Did we get all of it though?
Yeah. Oh my God. So Trevor, yeah, we got all of it. Tell me how you really feel. Damn, that was scorching. It was so hot our stream went out. Like that's crazy.
I'm sorry. I apologize, but God damn it.
that is one.
And it's one of those things. Like honestly, like his inability in the ring can be excused because he had a presence in the ring. A lot of people did like X-Pac. They liked the jumping up and down doing the 1,000 crotch chops. They liked his inability on the mic. They liked his inability on the mic. Well, they thought he had. What does that mean? They thought he had ability on the mic. I don't think he did.
Oh, they liked his ability. I thought you said they liked his inability on the mic, which half of that is true, but I mean,
exactly. Like, I
look,
don't think he had any ability on the mic, but people think he did. Whatever. But like, they liked him. Whatever. I mean, and it is what it is. Wrestling is opinionated, and just like assholes, everyone has an opinion. So,
Jesus.
I mean, it's and you can like who you want to like, but that's just my opinion. He's a piece of shit, and fuck him.
Well, I don't think I can do anything better than that, Trevor. I think you explained it perfectly. But what I can do is do this segue because speaking of pieces of shit, we're going to talk about this one right here.
I think this is your turn to go off.
Disgraced wrestler Alberto El Patron says that he is interested in potentially returning to the WWE and that he is, quote, sorry for his mistakes regarding his time there. Patron spoke to Sporkstopedia for a new interview where he says he has a tumultuous relationship with WWE, but he is open to returning to the company somewhere down the line. Now, it is worth to note that Alberto El Patron is not only known for his trouble in the ring and in the company, but also his trouble outside the ring. Patron had several issues with WWE during his time there. He famously was fired because of an assault against an employee. His second one ended after a period where he got injured, was vocal about his displeasure within the company, and he also violated the wellness policy along with his then girlfriend, Paige. It had also been reported at the time that WWE held back on pushing him because he was partying too much and became a liability. But we also can't ignore what has happened in the years following his release from WWE, Trevor, because this was also more heinous than what he did in WWE. Because in the years following, he's had allegations of domestic violence, instances of assault and impulsive fighting, allegations of drug use, now showing multiple contractually obligated shows in WCPW and Impact Wrestling while being the world champion. And let's not forget that Alberto El Patron currently faces charges on 4 counts of sexual assault and 1 on aggravated kidnapping in Texas, where he could possibly face decades of jail time. This is the definition of a scumbag. I'm going to ask you in a second about this, and I think I already know your answer, but if it were up to me, Alberto El Patron would not ever wrestle again for any company. The stuff that this dude has done, it's like there is a line, right? There's a line. People say terrible things. And eventually there's a point where, okay, eventually you might give him a second chance. Alberto El Patron has done terrible, deplorable things. He nearly ruined Paige's life. He obviously ruined this one woman's life who he's now facing charges for. Alberto El Patron is the very definition of a scumbag. He's the type of person that when he's in the news about wrestling, you actually drop your head in disgust because you have to defend people. You have to defend that people like that are part of the business. And we shouldn't do that, man. We shouldn't do that. But Trevor, I digress. What do you make of this? Should Alberto El Patron ever wrestle again?
He shouldn't wrestle in WPCW. He shouldn't wrestle anywhere. He honestly should be banned from being eligible to wrestle in any promotion in any part of the world. He's a scumbag and deserves what he gets.
Agreed. And look, it's not a fun thing to talk about, but it's
something we have to discuss, though.
It's an important thing because I know a lot of people are always like, well, look at what he did in the ring, and if we were going by what he did in the ring, he should be in WWE and blah blah blah. What is it? Are you how dumb do you have to be to think that someone like this should be forget representing a company, representing a company, but near female talent, what? Nobody would hire him. In the working world, if you did the things that he did, nobody would hire him.
And why would you allow him to be on TV? Children watch wrestling. Why would you want them to see this jackass on TV?
Oh yeah. You're gonna Google Alberto El Patron. What comes up? Google it right now. What comes up?
Exactly. I mean, honestly, why would you want someone like that, regardless of what he did in the ring? Like, and unfortunately, a lot of what he did in the ring was great. Yes, absolutely. But we're not going to sit here and say just because he was good in the ring takes away from the fact that he's a piece of shit outside of it.
Yeah, agreed. Alberto El Patron, I hope you never wrestle again. And I am someone who honestly, like, when it comes to like second chances, I'm more open than a lot of people, man. I
Yeah,
am more open than a lot
yeah.
of people. Like, there's a lot of people who give me flack about how open I am about like, like second chances, and like I don't necessarily like cancel culture and that kind of stuff. I think it leads to dangerous things, but if there's anyone who deserves to be canceled, if there's anyone who deserves to never be on television again, it's Alberto Del Rio, Alberto El Patron. I hope I never have to mention his name ever again.
There you go.
There we go. Moving on, let's talk about something fun. Let's talk about something light. Let's talk about something positive. Let's talk about the
My man.
the former American Wolf, Davey Richards. Former Ring of Honor champion Davey Richards, formerly of the American Wolves, has announced that he will come out of retirement. Richards, who turned just 38 this past March, will join Major League Wrestling MLW as they gear up for a fall premiere of their new show on Vice TV. He said in an interview that, quote, I was blown away, quite frankly, when asked about my return. That was a lot bigger. There were a lot of bigger promotions that reached out to me. I was very, very humbled by that. I've always looked at wrestling as more of a sport than entertainment. I think you should be so good at wrestling that it's entertaining, and that's just my philosophy. MLW was really in line with that way of thinking and how they present their product. It's more sports oriented. It was a more organic fit. It just clicked right off the bat more than all the other places at this time. So Trevor, we have Davey Richards, one of the best wrestlers in the world. At one point, the best wrestler in the world, I think back in 2011. He was great. With Davey Richards joining MLW and the brand getting a new show on Vice, there's a lot of hype about it. There's a lot of intrigue behind the MLW product. What do you make of it? What do you think about MLW now having Davey Richards potentially reaching out to Braun Strowman, having a new premiere on Vice? What do we make of it?
I think that is the move they needed, man. It definitely is. Like you said, back in 2011, he was arguably one of the best wrestlers in the world. And to have a name like that on your promotion, like one of the bigger names in the business, on your promotion like that, that makes other bigger names pay attention. You know what I mean? That makes other bigger names pay attention, and not only that, it makes the fans pay attention. And like Davey Richards, what a stand-up dude, right? Like to honestly sit there and I've got an offer from other promotions, but this is where I want to be. I want to help make this a name, make this a place where other people want to work and want to watch. Like, I mean, that says it all right there, man. And that's why I suggested that we talk about this, because I thought this was a feel good story that should be announced to people who didn't know about it. Like this is good to hear. It is, and it's good for wrestling. It's good for wrestling. It's good for MLW. Honestly, I think with Davey Richards aboard, he's going to help get bigger names. And honestly, I can't wait for it to come on. I'm actually getting more excited the more I read about it.
Yeah, Davey Richards joining MLW, I think, is indicative of something we've talked about for a while, and that is the wrestling business right now is flourishing. Outside of WWE, outside of AEW, the wrestling business is doing amazing. MLW has a TV deal. NWA has a deal with Fight TV for Power. You have all these indies that are gonna come back. You have Dark Elevation, by the way, which has kept the indie scene alive and the talents, fed and paid. So that's great. But man, it's indicative of why it's so exciting right now to be a wrestling fan. There's so much to watch, so much different stuff to watch. So, and you can be a fan of all of it. PWG is returning, but Davey Richards going to MLW, I think it adds a legitimacy for that company, because from hardcore wrestling fans and from that community, and I think that's good. And we'll see what they can do with their new deal on Fox. One of the things that coming out of this I want to get your opinion on is, what do you think about, wrestling being presented as more of a sport than soap opera, as Richards mentioned? Because, sometimes, given how wrestling has evolved over time, recently especially, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes people go overboard with the soap opera. Look at WCW in 2000 or
Yeah.
TNA or WWE right now. Sometimes they tend to go overboard with soap opera. But what do you think about the more, the more sports oriented feel that MLW is trying to bring?
I think it makes the product look more real. I think it makes you feel good to see. Like, I mean, these guys aren't just like actors and actresses. You know what I mean? These are actual athletes, and what they do in the ring is not easy. I mean, sometimes they get seriously hurt. Sometimes they never wrestle again. Sometimes it happens. But like, to make it actually more of a sports oriented feel, I think it helps your product tenfold, honestly. Because what you do is, by making your product more sports oriented, you make it better than a lot of the other products that are just soap opera and story related. I mean, you have to keep a story in there too, but like, when you see more athletics and things like that, it makes you feel a little different about the product, because it's more of a sport at this point, and people love sports. I mean, there are a lot of people that enjoy sports. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it helps
Yeah.
the product.
And I think what Richards was kind of pointing to, as far as more of a sports feel, it's kind of like in sports, there's like these innate storylines that are built in with the competition that's going on, and
Exactly.
I think that's kind of what he's hinting to. And if you go back to what Ring of Honor was doing when he was there, I think that's kind of also what he was doing. Like, they're still like, it's wrestling, it's a show.
Yeah.
Like, you're
So
still gonna have storylines, but they're gonna be interesting. They're going to be, for the most part, serious and reality driven. And I think that's what Richards wants, and I think that's what a lot of fans these days are craving after being shoved, hands and Katie Vick for years. I think it's good for fans that we're finally getting more of a sports and realistic feel, especially in the United States, because Japan's had it for a while.
yeah, absolutely.
All
Yeah,
right,
I like it. I definitely do.
cool. Anything else on this before you move on?
Now we can go ahead. Let's move on.
All right. Well, this is a new segment that we are trying out this week, and we're going to call it, or I'm going to call it, This Week in Wrestling History. Let me take a drink of water before I get into this, though. Guys, if you haven't already, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Tell them, Trevor.
Yes.
Amazing co-host right here. Worth every penny you pay. All right, Trevor. So let's talk about it. This week in wrestling history, the CM Punk pipe bomb promo. 10 years ago this week in wrestling... Oh, I'm sorry. 10 years ago this week, the wrestling world was rocked by a promo that will in all likelihood outlive all of us. And one that, whether intentional or not, injected new life into pro wrestling. In 2011, WWE was seemingly in a rut of disinteresting storylines, even less interesting promos, and predictable finishes. We all remember that Cena wins lol meme, don't we? But seemingly out of nowhere at the time, WWE was building a feud between then WWE champion John Cena and challenger CM Punk, and everything changed. Punk sat Indian style at the top of the ramp, looking on at a battered John Cena who was wincing in pain, having just been driven through a table moments earlier. Punk then grabbed the mic and went on to cut one of the most famous promos in the history of professional wrestling, now known as his infamous pipe bomb. CM Punk's pipe bomb, however, wasn't just a good shoot promo. It served as a representation of what many longtime fans have been frustrated with WWE's product for a while. It called out the frustrations fans had at the overexposure of John Cena in the WWE product. It called to attention the very real truth that CM Punk's contract was going to run out on the night of Money in the Bank when he was set to face Cena for the title. It called out many of the inside ballpark rumors that the likes of Hulk Hogan and John Laurinaitis being ass kissers, the latter being quoted as a douchebag yes man towards Vince McMahon in one of Punk's promos. But most importantly, in an era where WWE had become more corporate, sanitized, more transparent, and the business itself had been outed as a work for years, this was one of the first moments in a long time where it felt real. And Trevor, the pipe bomb promo for me, I don't know about you, but for me, it occurred at a time where I was not watching wrestling and I was vaguely paying attention, but this was a turning point for me as a fan that got me directly back into it. When you first saw or got wind of the pipe bomb promo, what was your reaction to it?
So it's funny because you say you weren't really into wrestling like that, and I actually at the point was falling out of it because I was busy. I was in college. I was working. I wasn't really able to watch it, and it just so happens this particular night I got off early and I came home, and it just so happens that Raw was on the TV, and I'm sitting there. I missed the first 5 minutes, I guess, of it because I walked in and my brother was like, "Yo, you gotta watch this." And I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I'm like, "Yo, like he really just kind of pretty much broke kayfabe on national TV, which for a long time was kind of like a no-no." And it was such a shoot that you're sitting there like, "Yo, like this is awesome." Like you a lot of people just like myself, wrestling fans, like never seen anything quite like that, And CM Punk, amazing with his promos, amazing promos. I mean, no promo he's ever done touched this particular one, but
Mm.
he always great with his promos. It was one of those things that relit the fire I had for wrestling. Like, and you're sitting there watching, and you're like, "Yo, this is absolutely amazing. Like, yo, this is crazy. Like, yo, like I love this show." And the thing was, I was sitting there, I was glued to the TV. I had a paper to write, I had other stuff to do, but I was glued to the TV. I couldn't stop paying attention. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, wow. And it meant it meant a lot to me, and like it again helped me boost my like for CM Punk, who I actually met 3 months later from
There
this.
we go. There we go. So for me, man, the pipe bomb promo, if we're going to talk about the pipe bomb promo, I think it's fitting we kind of give it its credit because I think the story that you and I have about it, getting back into wrestling and really paying attention and locking in, like again, that's like this that is similar for a lot of people. And I think if you look at what happened in the years to follow, whether it's AEW, the renaissance of the indies, well, everything that followed, everything that's happening right now that is good in professional wrestling, it
Right.
does not happen without that promo that CM Punk cuts because I think we're on a completely different path as far as pro wrestling goes if WWE had continued down that path because I'm not and I don't feel like I'm overblowing it either because this was a moment where a lot of hardcore fans really tuned back in. Yeah, The Rock was there, but then they tuned out. This made people consistently feel involved and invested in the product like never before, not before for a long time since Stone Cold even. And in
Exactly.
a time where WWE was really at a really stale and at a stalemate with the fans as far as do we like the product? It was very real milk toast. It was predictable. It wasn't great, and this promo changed all of that. And I think the legacy of this promo, Trevor, is going to be exactly what you and I mentioned. Is going to be that of a moment in time that has changed the wrestling world for the better because Ring of Honor benefited from it. The Indies benefited from it. CM Punk benefited from it. Wrestlers in WWE like Daniel Bryan benefited from it. Finn Balor got signed because of this promo because it elevated CM Punk from an indie darling to a world champion, to a legitimate main eventer, not only in the eyes of the fans, but in the eyes of VKM, Vince McMahon. And if that doesn't happen, man, if that doesn't happen, I don't think all of these people who've gotten a chance get the chance they do. And I don't think the popularity of wrestling takes the course it does. So thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you,
Thanks.
CM Punk.
Yeah, it was funny because like I actually met him in an Indies show the first time I met him, and then I met him again once he was on the main roster, and I remember the first thing I mentioned was like because he was talking to it about it with another fan, and he was like he's like just it's just one of those things like this lightning in a bottle. That's exactly how he explained it. And like, I remember I was like, man, that was amazing. I've always been a fan of yours, but you helped me get back into wrestling like that. And he was like, oh, wow. And he signed my shirt and he signed it. Love CM Punk, lightning in a bottle.
There we go. There we
And
go.
yeah, that, like, I mean, because of that, that was awesome. Like, again, thanks CM Punk. Thanks for all you did. And thanks for what you did that night.
Big facts, big facts. And thank you guys for who are still watching and listening to us talk about wrestling. We're almost done with the show. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. How fast can I say that's very fucking fast, apparently.
Apparently.
That's no hashtag no filter. Lots of coffee. Trevor, what's next for us? What are we doing next, Trevor? What could we be doing next?
Ask me next. Is it the fan question or is it something else?
I don't know. You tell me, Trevor. What could it be? What could it be? What's the surprise we have for the fans?
So, ladies and gents, let me look at my notes here. We have a new segment that, well, I don't know if it's going to be a very new segment, but we have something that we've been working on, and it's called. Did you take it out?
No, it's right there. Trevor, come on. Yeah, professional pal. It's live TV pal.
Exactly, and professionals fuck up all the time.
There we go.
We have the mid-year awards.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Mid-year awards.
All right, we got the mid-year awards. You're damn right. The mid-year awards were 6 months in, fully 6 months into this calendar year of 2021, and we are going to come at you with some of our mid-year awards. Trevor, first on the line, first award on the line, promotion of the year. What promotion so far in 2021, in the past 6 months, has been the best in wrestling?
AEW. I'm sorry. I have to say AEW.
Yeah, it's AEW. It's not even close. It's AEW. Yeah, AEW has been consistently putting out the best matches. It's been consistently putting out the best matches, consistently been booking the best. It's been putting out some of the best television during the pandemic, but especially in the past 6 months, they've revved it up since they gotten fan back. Blood and Guts, success. Double or Nothing, success. Revolution, one of their worst pay-per-views, but still a success because all of their pay-per-views are great. And Kenny Omega, biggest success of the year for AEW. Absolutely. WWE, on the other hand, not great. You know, you could probably give them worst promotion, major promotion of the year, but AEW obviously wins this.
Hands down. And Mr. Sir, I have a question for you.
Oh.
Here's a question for you.
Pour moi?
Match of the year.
Match of the year. Match of the year. What could that possibly be? Don't smoke, kids. What could that possibly be? So I've thought long and hard about this, Trevor. Match of the year this year, and I actually have two. I have two that I went back and forth on. I'm only gonna pick one.
Okay.
But I'm gonna give that second one a some notoriety because it deserves it. My latter one, the one that it loses out for me, is the triple threat match between Kenny Omega, Pac, and Orange Cassidy at Double or Nothing 2021. It was a great match. It showcased all three athletes in the best way possible. Everyone got over. Everyone was over, and Kenny Omega won. But man, that was what second best match I've seen all year. But the number one match I saw all year, Trevor, some people are going to disagree, but it's fine. The best match of the year was the main event of WrestleMania Night 2, Daniel Bryan versus Edge versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal Championship.
And I thought you were going to say that. I kind of thought you were going to say that. Amazing match. Absolutely.
It's the best main event to a WrestleMania in a very long time, and that is saying a lot. It is honestly the best match that Roman Reigns has had at WrestleMania. One of the best matches Edge has had at WrestleMania. Arguably one of the best matches Daniel Bryan has had at WrestleMania, other than that Triple H match he had. But this, for me, Trevor, was just, it's exactly what when you think about the spectacle of WrestleMania, how big it is, and the showcase. This was a heavyweight contest with three people who all had a chance to take it away. They pulled out all the stops. and just the dominance, the spectacle, the in-ring technicality that was displayed in that match. It was just great for me, man. I can't. For me, there was no better. There was no better match this year than that. It accomplished what it needed to, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. Someone got over.
Exactly.
And that rarely happens in WWE. You can say I'm grading on a curve, but for me
honestly,
the best match.
I can agree with you. That was a good one. Actually, I have two as well. One,
only one wins. Only one wins.
Only
you got
one
to pick
wins.
one.
Only one wins. So there's one that is the top, and the other one is the honorable mention, if you will.
Go with the honorable mention first.
Absolutely. The honorable mention will be the Elimination Chamber with Daniel Bryan won.
Nani?
With Daniel Bryan won to leading up to the triple threat at WrestleMania. Actually, that was a great match. I thought the story for it was great. I thought the fact that he never had he's getting close to his career. He hasn't won the belt, and I thought all that build up for it was amazing. Like in the ending of it was climactic. It was a great match. Every wrestler in that match obviously performed, put on a hell of a show. And I mean, it's not hard to put Daniel Bryan over because he's already over, but it was a great match. The one that wins for me, Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker.
Ooh, yep. Didn't even mention that, but that was also like on my list of great matches this year.
That to me was, and of course it was unsanctioned, but that to me was an amazing match by two incredible athletes, and I don't give a damn that they were women. Like, to me, the fact that they were women made it even more amazing. But it was an absolutely beautiful put together match. Like, it put Britt Baker completely over, and she didn't even win the match. Like, it put her over, and she didn't even win the fucking match. And it's just, it was amazing. Like, I don't think she has great matches, but I don't think in her career she'll have one quite better than that.
It was a moment in time. It was definitely a moment in time. It was great. All right, next mid-year award we got here, Trevor. Moment of the year, the best singular moment of this year in wrestling.
I don't know, man. Wow.
That's a hard one. It's a hard one. And look, there's a few you can pick. And before anyone says it, no, the Brody Lee Memorial Show is not included in this because it happened in the end of 2020. Although if it was in 2021, it was a moment of the decade. Honestly, just like the ending of that show was just beautiful. That was like, for me, it's like. Just like to deviate a little bit, like that show is going to be remembered as like one of the finest moments in wrestling history because it was just perfect. It was like the perfect tribute to an even better man. But
yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, So moment of the year. What moment to you is just the best when you think about best moments of visually and just emotionally?
This year, right?
Yeah, just in 2021.
I
have mine.
And I'm a little biased, I guess, because he's one of my favorites. But seeing Edge come back, seeing Edge come back was to me one of the better moments of the year. Seeing him come back in that Royal Rumble match, like if it was last year, of course that huge ass pop he got would have been the pick. But no, this one is gonna be it. Yeah, like I mean, the man couldn't wrestle again. Like he was told he could never wrestle again. Got neck fusion surgery and did not listen to a damn word these doctors said and kept coming back. Like he hurt himself twice, and came back. Like yeah, that's it for me. That's gonna be it for me.
Yeah, that's a good pick. For me, it was the end of WrestleMania 37, night 1, seeing Bianca Belair win and hold up the SmackDown Women's Championship. It was a good one. It was like you can say that whole match was a moment, but it's something you're not going to forget, because there's no one in the world who watched that match who was not happy about the result. There's nobody. It was, and you could see the emotion on Bianca Belair's face. You could see the emotion on Sasha Banks' face. It was bigger. It was a moment that, like, honestly, like we say, bigger than wrestling. It was bigger than wrestling, but it was also, as a wrestling moment, just amazing to see, because it's very seldom you see, like, cut and dry, like very, very, like, milquetoast baby faces, like, win just clean and, like, have it be emotional and happy and go away satisfied, especially nowadays.
Yeah,
but it was just
hate to be political, but it was great. It was big for women. It was big for the African American community. It was big. It was huge. And like I am one that hates to bring some of that stuff up because it's such a touchy subject, but it was an absolute amazing moment, and yeah, that's a great thing.
Big facts. Trevor, this one I'm gonna deviate a little bit, because this one I think we have two clear-cut nominees about who it could be.
Yeah.
So let's bring it to that. Next award is Wrestler of the Year. Trevor. There we go. Technical difficulty, but it's fine. Trevor, Wrestler of the Year. Wrestler of the Year, Trevor. We have our two nominees right over here. It can only be one of these two. Roman Reigns, Kenny Omega. I'll make the case for each one, Trevor, and then we can decide which one. Let's try to decide as a consensus here. I think we both kind of know where it's going to go, but Roman Reigns has had an amazing just 12 months, but just in the past, like 6 months, defeated both Daniel Bryan and Edge at WrestleMania. Had a great match with Cesaro in his first world title match. He had great matches with Daniel Bryan at Fastlane. He's dominated people, having great Hell in a Cell matches on SmackDown, and his character is just sublime. He is the man in WWE. Sans Becky Lynch, but he is the guy, the franchise, the cornerstone of SmackDown. On the other hand, the other guy might be the cornerstone of professional wrestling. Kenny Omega, in the past few months, has won the AEW World Title, the TNA World Title, the Impact World Title, the AAA Mega Championship, and he's just been an unstoppable machine. He's getting pay-per-view buys for AAA. He's getting pay-per-view buys for for AEW. He's getting pay-per-view buys for all these promotions and appearing. He's the hardest working person in professional wrestling right now. And if anyone deserves it, it's him. But Trevor, I think we both know where it's gonna go. On 3, we both say our person, and then if we disagree, let's explain.
Okay.
Deal?
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
Yeah, it's Kenny Omega. Look, we love.
I was gonna go Kenny by God, but yes, I mean
Kenny by God Omega. Yeah.
Let's just put a bow on it, because enough has to be said. He's like you said. He owns 4 different belts. He's put out buys for a company that no one really gave a shit about in the past several years. He's made it relevant again. Like, he has put AEW even more on the map than he even was. He's had some of the better promos. He's had some of the better promotions. Like, his managers, everyone around him is money. Like, he's the best damn wrestler in 10,000 years. Gotch. I'll even throw Hackenschmidt. I'll throw other names out there. Ricky Steamboat. Like, he is Kenny by God fucking Omega, and he's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Retweet. Yep, I agree. I fully agree. I can't say it better than you've already said it. So, yeah, those are our year-end awards. Anyone who won an award, you can collect it at the Dewdrop in this.
It is a drink.
But it is not. It will be a nice $5 hot dog at the Dewdrop. You have to pay for the award. Yeah, you have to pay for it.
Anyone to disagree with us, please tweet us. Let us know your picks.
No. Well, Oh, okay. Yeah. If you agree, disagree, let us know your picks. But for anyone who's trying to collect the reward, please give all your questions to Jerry Santiago in Texas. Anyway, let's get to our final official segment this week, Trevor. Long show, but hey, good show.
Yeah.
Got some stuff. Got some stuff here, pal. Trevor, our fan question of the week. This time coming from Tyler from Louisiana.
Hey, what's up, Tyler?
We're down in the bayou. Gator, Slater Gator. All right. All right. So Trevor from Louisiana asked us, who is the best heel of all time? Very simple question, but also very loaded.
Yes. So a couple came to my mind. I picked two. Can I pick two?
Sure. Why not? Go.
Two. All right. So, of course, my first one is one of my favorites and also hella insane on the mic, Mr. Rowdy Piper, the hot rod himself. He was, if you've never seen the man work, do yourself a favor, watch some tapes, just to see him. He was such a heel that the New York Police Department came to Madison Square Garden to break up this fight between him and Hogan, and because Mr. T, because they thought it was real. They didn't know it was fake. They thought it was real. They thought this whole thing was real. He was in this man's face like cussing at him, spitting at him. Like they really thought that this thing was real. Like this man made you believe that he was an absolute asshole because
he was
secret. He was. Roddy Piper was a shithead, but he didn't care. He was always in people want to talk about greatest on the mics. If it wasn't for Roddy Piper, if it wasn't for Ric Flair, you wouldn't have the Jerichos. You wouldn't have the Rocks. You wouldn't have the Stone Colds. This man was Machiavelli on the mic. He was amazing.
For anyone, by the way, for anyone looking for some great underrated Roddy Piper stuff, look at the lead up to his feud with Hulk Hogan in WCW Starrcade '96.
Yes.
The lead up to that, and that match was amazing. Roddy Piper at his best, and it was in WCW. Please check that out. It deserves to be seen.
And the great thing about him and Hogan is he couldn't stand Hulk Hogan.
Who could?
He couldn't stand. He openly said it. He couldn't stand Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan said, "Oh, he didn't like me at all." No, he didn't. He couldn't stand him, but he could perform with him. That was the best thing about it.
Yep.
So number 2 is my man, Sheiky.
Sheiky baby,
the best Sheiky baby, the Iron Sheik. Love the Iron Sheik. He was such an asshole. No one liked him.
Everyone loves him now.
They love him now. Yeah. They
oh my God, Sheiky.
But they couldn't stand.
Sheiky is money on the mic, by the way.
No, he is. Oh, absolutely. But back when he was actually wrestling, he would get booed. People wanted to kill him. People couldn't stand him. Like when he had that tag team with him and Sergeant Slaughter, people wrote to Sergeant Slaughter in his house trying to murder them, threatening them. Like that's how bad and how much over Sheiky was. Sheiky was amazing as a heel. Those are my 2 picks.
I put him in the camel clutch. Make him humble. I make him humble. Hulk Hogan is a no good jabroni. Fucking bullshit. Love Sheiky baby. I love the Iron Sheik, man. Iron Sheik. We need to get him on the podcast real quick. I'm reaching out to the Iron Sheik tonight.
Dude, you got to. I think we're gonna get super demonetized.
Yeah. Well, joke's on you. We're not monetized yet.
We might after the Xbox thing.
That is what it is. Anyway, so Trevor, the best heel in professional wrestling for me in the history of professional wrestling. And it's not, and I promise you, it has nothing to do with his backstage antics. It has nothing to do with his backstage politicking or him just being, a heel in real life. It's Hulk Hogan. and it's Hulk Hogan in the NWO in '96.
It was money. He was amazing.
There was nobody in wrestling history at that time, like in wrestling history, who was more hated in that time than Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was go back and watch the NWO from '96, their inception, to like '99, whenever they phased out at their peak. Hulk Hogan and the NWO were getting trash, literal garbage thrown at them every single week, every single segment, like throughout the entire segment. There was just garbage. They would send janitors into the ring.
They changed from glass bottles to plastic bottles because they were getting hit with glass.
There was so much real heat. They took this definition of America, Hulk Hogan, and they turned him evil. And he was being a smarmy asshole, like, you know something, brother, these fans aren't nothing, Jack. And like he was kind of like they were when you think about it, they were not creative promos, but this was their childhood turned and twisted into something that they didn't know how to feel, and fans hated him. They absolutely hated him, and it brought the business to its highest peak ever. That is a money heel, the very definition of a money heel in Hulk Hogan.
Yep. I totally agree with you on that one. Completely agree.
All right. Anything else, Trev? Anything else?
I'm good, sir. I think this week was pretty long, but we did a good show.
Let's just end it by going through T. Higgins in the chat, man. T. Higgins, what a trooper. Coffin matches are usually good. Yes, they are. Damn, he mad. Get that man in the ring with X-Pac. He's talking about you. He's talking about you. Get that man in the ring with X-Pac. We love to see it. That's awesome. It. Something good. LOL. Kenny Omega over Roman Reigns because I don't like Roman Reigns. He does not like Roman Reigns.
I see. I can see.
I see. Okay. Well, you know what I like? Trevor, you every week joining me on the podcast. But today we are done finally at clocking in at exactly 2.5 hours. It's been fun, man.
It's been a lot of fun. Absolutely. I like the new persona change here.
Oh, yeah. This is my heel turn. I'm gearing up for my maniacal owner of the channel heel turn with these guys. Oh, yeah, dude. Also, bro, like, last thing I'll say, I love how Hulk Hogan, in the biggest moment of his career, when at Bash and Beach 96, he cuts his promo and he forgets the name of the new faction that he's supposed to get over, and he's like, the New World Organization of Wrestling, phoning it in, man. Like, the funny thing is, WCW in 96 became the biggest company in the world and the best company in the world by phoning it in. Imagine if they actually tried.
It was crazy.
Crazy. Also crazy that people loved this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for following along. Thank you for the questions, the chats. We will see you next time. Trevor, say bye to the people.
Bye, people.
We'll see you next time, next week, same place, Real Take Sport. Wrestle Talk.